Welcome back to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart. We're here in Las Vegas where tomorrow they're going to be marking 1 year since the attack that left 58 people dead. The type of attack we've seen play out in places like movie theaters and in churches. And it also takes place, of course, in schools. Right now, school security, that's a $2.6 billion industry. Nicole Vowell went to a school in Chicago, though, that's saying that price is a small one to pay for a peace of mind.
Keeping students safe. It's a top priority at St. Benedict's Catholic School on Chicago's North Side.
Over the last several years, about 7 years, there's been a lot of effort to make sure that the doors are locked, that we've installed different components of security systems around the school.
Head of the school, Rachel Gemmo, says drills we once knew, like fire and weather drills, have changed dramatically.
But lately it has been really focusing on the physical safety of the students, particularly from active shooters or active weapons situations.
This year, the almost 750 students here were trained on how to use a new safety device.
Basically, it functions just like a fire alarm would, where you would pull down and it would activate an alarm system that pages, instead of the fire department, this one would page the police department. Pushing in and pulling down will activate the system.
It silently alerts police there's a threat. It also visually alerts students.
Those strobes alert all the students that are in the hallways and are alone to seek either shelter or an adult.
Louis Karajanis, the school's tech guru, explains how the Blue Point system also sends real-time text alerts to teachers.
It's like this. Once it's activated, it activates immediately.
The text message links to a map pinpointing the location of the threat on campus. It also allows for communication, real time, and offers video feeds to be viewed from dozens of cameras.
And they operate wirelessly and are independent of our internet. So if our internet goes down, it does not affect them.
And those blue boxes go one step further inside the classroom. All faculty and staff here are equipped with these mobile devices that activate the exact same system,
Which they have to push both buttons simultaneously.
This $100,000 investment is one Gemmo says she hopes she never has to use, but says it's worth every penny.
We wanted to just make sure that we were doing everything we could to keep our students and our faculty safe, because one loss is too great.
For The Race, I'm Nicole Vowell reporting.
Now, the Second Amendment, that addresses our rights to guns as citizens, but let's face it, 226 years later, it is contentious and it is difficult to explain, and cartoonist Nick Referzo and Newsy's Alex Miller team up to show us why.
It may be only 27 words and one sentence, but it's arguably the most controversial piece of information our founders left us. We're talking about the Second Amendment. It's been poked and prodded by some of our nation's most brilliant minds. Some say we should interpret it plainly, others say we need to analyze the sentence down to the grammar to figure out what the founders were trying to say. Two phrases in particular stick out. The first phrase, a well-regulated militia, is where much of the disagreement with the amendment lies. Some say the word militia refers to the state's responsibility to have their people armed. Others say it means civilians should make up a militia if the government turns on its own people. Those who fall on the side of tighter gun control often also argue a militia is unnecessary in present day. Overall, they believe the Second Amendment should be interpreted to reflect present day. They believe the word arms in the phrase, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, has evolved. Automatic and semi-automatic weapons did not exist during the writing of the Bill of Rights, and they say the interpretation of the amendment should reflect the changing times. Second Amendment advocates say the phrase shows it is a specific right and not a privilege for people to not only keep guns, but carry them, in public or private, open or concealed. Because the founders gave no more direction or discussion about the amendment and the deeper meaning behind it, people will continue to see what they are looking for in it.
Some of the strongest Second Amendment advocates are in the hunting community. Nicole Vowell talked to one of the more than 15.5 million licensed hunters in America about what the right to bear arms means to him.
Mark Martineau. He's just your average American from Utah who loves guns. He's got a lot of hardware for the sport of shooting. But what he enjoys most is going out with his friend John Hansen to hunt.
These are just a few of the hunts we've been on.
From big game hunting in Africa to deer or bears, you name it.
You go out there, go hunt for your food, you know, feel like a man, yeah, it's a good time.
And when it comes to the controversy surrounding the Second Amendment,
If there's a law, you keep to the law. If there's a rule, you keep the rule. There's no bending or breaking them.
he doesn't deny that violence involving guns in America is a problem, but says one solution is to arm more responsible people.
Who is the one that's saving the crowds when it does happen? Concealed weapon permits holders.
And when it comes to gun control, Martineau agrees with one aspect, but still has his reservations.
A mentally ill person should not own a firearm, but I guess it just all comes down to who is the person that is deeming them mentally ill.
It all comes down to firearms education, he says.
Learning and loving and respecting the firearm. You gotta teach your kids young to respect them.
And trusting that the majority of gun owners in America, like him, are good.
We're law-abiding citizens, and that's where we plan to stay.
For The Race, I'm Nicole Vowell reporting.
Still to come here on The Race from Las Vegas, a place that will be marking 1 year since the attack that left 58 people dead. We're going to show you the ways this community has already started to come together.